Layering, the great market crash of 2020. Black Lotus prices down by 30%. Fire Bloom down by 20%. Arcane Crystals going down, Plague Bloom going down, Mountain Silver Sage going down. Everything's going down. A couple of weeks ago I made a video covering items to invest in to make profit, and layering pretty much smashed that entire video and rendered it useless. Well, basically the items are still worth investing in, but the prices have changed. So in this video I'll give you my opinion on what to do if you're on a server with layers, how you can use the situation to make gold, and how you can use the situation to avoid losing gold. Here's the thing, right? Layering being back right now will increase the supply for a lot of items, simply because it opens up the amount of herbs, ores, and farming locations in general in the open world, allowing more people to farm and allowing the people that are already farming to layer jump for more spawns, which allows faster and more optimized farming. Let's look at the earth elementals in Badlands as an example here. Let's say you're playing on a server that's really popular and has 3 layers. There's now 3 layers of that farm available, so 3 times as many mobs. This allows either 3 times as many people to actually farm here, or if the locations are available on all 3 layers, one person can clean out an entire area and jump layers so he doesn't have to wait for respawns. Layering will pretty much affect the entire market for items that are gathered from out in the open world, as it increases the accessibility and the effectiveness of open world farms. Now before I actually start listing the items of interest here, and what to do and so on, there's one important thing we need to talk about here. We are currently in Phase 4, and world bosses and Sulgurub pretty much killed the servers, especially in the European region at release. Queues on Firemaw were upwards of 2,000, and about 5 hours of queue time. This is Phase 4. Imagine Phase 5 when AQ comes out, when everyone wants to be in one zone again, and there will be way more people in Silithus than in Sulgurub. What's that going to look like? Or in Phase 6 when Naxxramas comes out, or later in Phase 6 in the TBC pre-patch. People coming back to Classic to prepare for TBC and so on. The fact that they are adding layering back now means that they most likely will do that later in Classic as well, if the queues keep happening, which they most likely will. Investors now have to keep in mind that layering is a tool Blizzard seems willing to use, and we need to try to predict when layering will happen to avoid losing gold, which is another factor to consider. Another factor here is how long layering will last, which we don't know yet, but once layering gets taken out now, we'll have an example of how long it lasts so we can predict how long it will last in Phase 5 as well. My general suggestion is this: whenever layering happens, do not sell items. You can however capitalize on the people that are selling their items out of fear, so you can make some insane deals. For example, even on Firemaw, a friend of mine bought 20 Black Lotus for 95 gold each, because people were desperately looking to sell them off, in fear that they would reach even lower numbers. They are now back to 145 gold and my friend made huge profits. My second suggestion is to not buy anything during the first week, considering layering won't be in the game for just a week. It will most likely be here for a couple of weeks, a month, or maybe even 2 or several months. Let layering do its work and lower the prices before you buy. So with that out of the way, let's look at some items of interest and the prices I am now looking to buy them at. Once again, I always try to stick to 80% of the current market value, and if you see someone post it above that, send them an in-game mail or whisper them, offering them less than it's on the auction house for. In this case, I usually offer them 75% of the market value, because they avoid auction house fees. The first one here is obviously Black Lotus, as this is a huge item of interest for pretty much every investor. There are a few things to consider for this item, such as supply has pretty much doubled, tripled or quadrupled, depending on how many layers there are on your server, but the demand will always be huge because of the numbers needed in Phase 5 and Phase 6. Currently on my server, big raiding guilds are buying them in bulk at 105 gold each, and they're buying unlimited quantity, so there's no reason for me to bid less than that. They are also constantly on the auction house for 140 gold, so there's no reason for me to bid more than that as well. I've chosen to put myself right above the raiding guilds at 110 gold, and if they go higher than me, I will just keep upping my buy price by 5 gold, but I think my limit is going to be 130 gold, because I do believe the price will bounce back to what it was before the layers came back, which was 175 gold. Purple Lotus. This is an item that is needed in Phase 5, especially in the AQ war effort, and is needed in huge quantity as well. That being said, bag space will eventually become a problem, and the amount of raw gold profits you'll make per bag space is definitely something to consider. You can vendor these at 3 silver each, so just keep that in mind when buying. I am currently trying to buy them for 5 silver each, which is currently a very low price, but I've seen several auctions for 5 to 6 silver each after layers came back. If you can get them for 5 silver and sell them in phase 5 for 30 silver, that's 6 times your investment, but it would still only be 5 gold profit per bag space. Before layers came back, I was buying Purple Lotus for 20 silver each, which I now regret, but I didn't foresee layering coming back. Firebloom. This item is also in huge demand in phase 5 and phase 6, for several reasons I have covered in multiple videos, but to keep it short, it's used in weapon oils and elixirs for farm mages. I would expect this to sell in huge quantity in later phases, and it will be on high demand. However, it is in pretty much no demand until phase 5, which helps lower the current price of it. Before layers came back, I was buying this for 80 silver each, and now there's several auctions for 50 silver each. I am now trying to buy them for 40 silver each in unlimited quantity. Elemental water is used in phase 6 especially, in pretty high quantity as well, and before layering came back I was buying them for under 1 gold each, and there are now several auctions from 85 silver and up. I am trying to buy them for under 80 silver each, and I'm expecting huge profits from this item. Elemental earth is used in phase 5 and phase 6. Once again, this is in huge demand in the later phases of Classic WoW, and I'm trying to buy them for around 3 gold each. The current auction house price seems to go between 3 gold 40 to 4 gold 20. Someone seems to reset the price every morning, but I'm going to keep cold here and wait and see how low layers will drive the price. 3 gold is my buy price here unless the price doesn't change for 3 to 4 weeks, in which case I'll invest anyway, as long as it's cheap enough. Fellcloth is another item that will always be on high demand because right now it's used to make Mooncloth, which is used right now for Bloodvine in the current phase of Classic, but is also needed to turn in tier set tokens to obtain class tier gear from Noxtramas in phase 6, where cloth users need 30 Mooncloth each to obtain full tier gear. I cover this in my phase 6 investments video. With several layers on each realm, the supply of Fellcloth will go up, because more people can casually farm and obtain them, but also because it's not used once people have their Bloodvine until Nax comes out. There's a period from late phase 4 until late phase 5, where Fellcloth will stay on low demand, and therefore it should remain somewhat cheap. It's difficult to say if you should invest in this item now or wait until mid or late phase 5, but we'll see how low layering will push the price. Life Root is an item I was buying at 5 silver each, and now there's multiple auctions for very close to 2 silver each. Actually, there's auctions right now for 2 silver 15 copper each. So these are items I'd buy for under 2 silver each or close to 2 silver each. Once again, you need to consider the gold profit per bag space if you're running low on bag space. Stranglekep is selling for 26 silver right now, so that hasn't actually changed much since layering, as I was buying it at 30 silver each before layers came back. I'd hold off on buying these until they go under 20 silver each, or just let layering do a little bit more work. Grave Moss is still at the exact same price as it was before layers came back, so once again I would hold off on buying it. But that being said, I was buying it at 35 silver each before layers came back, so if it goes lower than that, I would consider buying again. Sandworm Meat is an item of interest for strength food that is actually already available in the game. This is still a difficult item to farm, so the price hasn't changed much, but that being said, if you can find any under 1 gold 50 each, go for it. Arthur's Tears is used in the AQ War Effort, and I was buying this at 12 silver each pre-layering. Now it's down to 5 silver each. I'm still not sure if I will invest in it because of the profit per bag space, but if I do decide to invest in it, I'll try to get them for 5 silver each or lower. Another item of interest with layering back is the Greater Nature Protection Potion recipe, but this is not an item of interest to buy just yet, but to avoid to buy. This will steadily go down while layering is active because it's an item you can only farm in select areas, and with layering active it becomes much easier to farm because you can clean out the entire farming area, then jump layers to avoid waiting for respawns, plus it gives more people the access to farm it, because one person can farm on layer 1, another on layer 2, another on layer 3, and so on. Another tip is to check vendors for rare recipes, as vendors are also affected by layering. I won't mention any specific recipes here, but I will mention some specific recipes on my Patreon-specific Discord. By camping a specific vendor with 2 specific rare recipes, a friend of mine was able to make 500 gold in one day, without camping 24/7, just camping for a few hours every now and then, and checking for restock from the vendor. So there it is, the great market crash of 2020, and the update that made all of my previous investments pretty much useless, and wasted a couple of hundred gold. However, if we play this right, we can turn our losses into profit by investing correctly right now, but beware of layering being turned back on at a later time as well. One important note is that the amount of people in-game is also affected by the affliction currently going on, so that's another factor to consider when thinking about if or when they will add layering later on as well. But I would definitely expect layers in Phase 5 for the opening of Untitled Ranch at least, and maybe in Phase 6 as well. Once again, this video was sponsored by my Patreon, where you can find some extra gold making tips and advice, and how to take advantage of layering being back. The support on Patreon means everything to me, so thank you so much. VIP level patrons can see their names on the screen as a tribute to their amazing support. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully it helps you guys make some gold in this layering madness. Thank you so much for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.